Welcome to the Hub podcast. I am your host, Cheney Passer, and second in command is here.
Constantly adjusting.
Second in command. I think today we're going to talk about our programs.
And to lead into that, because we're talking about our programs, we are going to be having a Black Friday deal because I love deals.
Yeah.
So I want to give them out. So our Black Friday deal is going to be 50% off of all of our programs. And we'll kind of talk about all of them to see what maybe would be a good fit for you. I think all of them are a good fit for everybody, but what you want to start out with maybe. And get them for yourself, gift them for friends and family for Christmas. They're all digital, so you can just, they're easily accessible and sendable.
Yeah.
And then that will be posted on our Facebook page, The Hub.
We'll probably put something at the end of this video too or this podcast to show and probably direct you to the Facebook page.
Yeah.
But I think you already brought up a good point of like, at some point, any of these can work for you, or that you could try them. It's pretty common to like always have the same goal and go after the same thing all the time, which a lot of the time it's good to switch it up and kind of do something different because your body adapts and it won't change unless it gets a new stimulus. So that's why we have done different programs, and it's not just one program, do this and all your dreams will change or all your dreams will come true. Like there's different processes for each one and to get you to different points. But yeah, I think that's already a good thing to talk about is like at some point, each of them are beneficial and fun and a change and something different to do.
Well, I like to be able to give kind of somewhat of a direction for people. Like, I think that's what people get tripped up the most with fitness is like, well, what do I do now? What do I do now? That you could pretty much run our programs one after the other and switch up your goals, switch up your intention, mix it up so it stays fun and interesting, and also adding a new stimulus. And we kind of have them somewhat in order of, I guess, advancement level. So like you can start out with our, we'll talk about it, but with our foundation and then work all the way up to something like our Atlas or our Olympia Elite and kind of grow with our programs.
Yeah.
Or jump in at any other ones and go, you know what, I really want to focus on certain elements that I'm an elite lifter, but I'm still going to go back to foundation. Or I'm traveling with work a lot, so maybe I'm going to do the hub at home or something like that. And then all of our programs you can also just run back to back.
You got like the same
how
one.
they have it, how we have them phased is you can basically, if say you get Olympia, you can run Olympia over and over and over again because you just repeat the cycle.
Well, and that's kind of the nice thing about it being digital too, is like you purchase it once and then you have it. You can just continue to run that. And like you said, it's even designed so that you can do the whole program and then you can just start it over and do it again.
Yep.
It also works going program to program where, maybe you start with foundation and then you move into Olympia, or you start with hub at home and then you move into foundation.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think we could just talk a little bit about each of them, of just kind of what they are. Like starting with hub at home, it's all at home. You don't have to go to a gym or go anywhere to do the program. And when you purchase it, we send you bands with it. So it's mostly band exercises.
Band and body weight.
We send you the bands. And yeah, it's all done at home. So like, especially with the quarantine, I know that was a big thing that everybody wanted, but also with somebody who's just like you already brought up, super busy or they just don't really like going to the gym. It kind of worries them, but they don't maybe want to spend all that money on weight equipment. They want somewhere to start and be able to start at home comfortably.
Yeah.
This is the program to do that with.
Yeah. Yeah, I think our intention and our goal of building this one was, like I had a lot of my moms that I teach their children in mind of like, they may not have all of the time to go run and spend hours at the gym, but they still want to be active, or just like, well, my kid's at dance for an hour, I can do this in the corner for an hour or something like that. Like, it doesn't have to be, you have to go somewhere. And I think for a lot of people that are starting out, they get uncomfortable going to a gym, that this is a great way to kind of just get you comfortable with the lifts, get you comfortable with how you move and your range of motion with these things and what the names of each exercises are. And we also have a whole playlist on our YouTube page, the Hub Fitness, that goes along with this program, and we'll send you the link to all of the videos. But even if you just want to go and check it out and see what it's all about, it's all up there. But we have a video explaining each lift too, so that you're not like, I've never heard of this, or like, I've never worked out, so I don't know what an overhead press is, or and we kind of guide you through bringing this into your lifestyle. Yeah. Next one that we did was foundation. So this, we'll just kind of explain them in the order. You don't obviously have to go through it in this order. And maybe one of them stands out to you more than the other ones, which is great. But we'll just do what we recommend. If you're a beginner or you want to run them all the way through, this is the order that we would do. So the next one is foundation. And same kind of goal, like getting you comfortable with the exercises. There might be a little, the difference between this one and at home is it's not at home. It involves, I mean, unless you have all of the stuff at home, then great. But it does involve weights and more equipment. So if you just are at a regular gym, you'd have all the things, or if you have dumbbells and a squat rack and that kind of stuff at home, then that would work too. Yeah.
But probably for most people, you'll be at the gym, or this is where you do it at the gym. And starting, it's foundation. We called it foundation because we want to build your foundation so that you can move on to, more difficult things or more challenging things, a little higher level things. But it's really starting with working on your proprioception and just building that foundation of, these are the kind of important lifts to build your strength, your stability, your mobility of like, we're setting you off onto the path to, more things afterwards. But this is where you can start. And it's for people too that maybe have been doing this for a long time, but they need to come back to, okay, let me come back to my foundation and build that.
Yeah, come back to the basics. I think that's something that is lost a lot in fitness. To me, with dance, it's the same thing with like ballet. Like, ballet is your foundation. Ballet is the center of anything, that everything grows out of that you would never get to, at least like with most companies that I dance with, or my mom's, like, you don't get to do any other classes before you do ballet, and you have to be in ballet if you're going to do anything else. So certain lifts that we have in here will give you the foundation, give you the basics, so that when we start adding in other programs, or you start adding in even specific goals, you know how to alter these things and you know how to work with them. But the muscles that you use, you know how to fire them, you know where the connection needs to be had, you know what needs to be firing to allow that change to happen. One thing that Mind Pump says, or it has an analogy that I love, is a lot of people just want to skip to the goal and like, well, I want to look like this, or I want to be able to do this, or blah, blah, blah. But if you said, okay, what's your dream house? Would you want the person to build it as fast as they can, which means they're just kind of nailing the woods, like kind of nailing the things together. They're not really putting any insulation in there. They're not making sure the ground is level, but you get it done really fast. Yeah. Or do you want them to take the time and build it so that it lasts and there's a structure to it and there's somewhat of a healthy foundation for more to build upon it, and you can add on and create it whatever you want, and it's going to last and stay and be just have more value to it. This is kind of what our whole, I guess, my mindset with fitness is, but this is a program that is great for kind of anybody to either build that or go back and make sure that that's still solid. Next one. Olympia.
Yeah, I would say probably Olympia. Olympia
Mhm.
or Atlas would probably be like if you go by
Interesting.
if
Okay.
you go by stepping stones, Hub at Home's probably the bit to start with, then foundation. And it all depends on your fitness level too, or what you're already
Sure.
comfortable with. But
Sure.
I would say Olympia or Atlas.
I agree. Yeah.
I think we can do Olympia. Olympia is kind of that more focusing on aesthetics,
Mhm.
and um, I'm losing my train of thought.
This
Like,
one, I feel like we had like the old school bodybuilders in mind
yeah,
with this program.
yeah,
Like
more bodybuilding.
it's about your physique. It's about the bodybuilding. It's about creating the look that you want. I mean, I think like one of our phrases in to describe the program is like build your dream physique with
Yeah.
Olympia.
Yep.
Like we want this to be something where like I really want to build out my butt or my shoulders or my back or whatever it is, and then you can kind of use this program. It's not just a overall getting your foundation, getting your healthy standard, like
Mhm.
like getting the baseline. This is like, okay, now how do we add those little tweaks
Yeah.
that are more personal to you and what you want?
There's a little bit more specification and
Mhm.
a little bit more fluff stuff, if you will. There's more like there's just more of the in-depth things going on with it. Where
Yeah.
like rest periods really change with this one, and tempo really changes with this one,
Mhm.
and even like the exercises as well. It's a little bit more in-depth and specific, and yeah, the whole goal is to change the way that your physique looks. And now a note on top of that is like just like what you said about foundation. If you don't have the foundation, it's more
Yeah.
unlikely that you're going to change your physique the way that you want it to, or like you said, it's going to
Mhm.
happen quickly, but you're not going to have the stability to maintain that.
Yes.
It's just like what you said, like with mind pump and the house analogy, or building a house analogy, is it's like you put so much attention on decorating the room, but your foundation is not good. Well, guess what? The decorations are all going to fall apart and
Yeah.
everything because your foundation is. So you need to make sure you have that foundation before you go into decorating the house
Yeah.
and decorating the rooms
Yeah.
and stuff. So that's something to note with this, that like make sure you're at this fitness level before going into it, because you may get the results quickly or maybe how you want, but then you may see them go away because you didn't have the foundation to start with.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
Olympia, is it's bodybuilding and focusing on your aesthetics.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much just all looks, and it's so fun. I mean, all these are fun in a different way, but for me, I think bodybuilding was something that I connected to right
Mhm.
away with fitness. Just because it's cool. Like there's so many different ways that you can change how you look
Yeah.
by the work that you put in. But so that one's called Olympia, based off of the
Mr.
bodybuilding.
Olympia.
Yeah.
Yeah. The contest, the competition.
Yeah. And then Olympia Elite is basically just a crazier version of Olympia. It's
Even more in depth, even
more
more
in depth.
specific,
Yep.
more intense. It's elite. It's
A little
for
bit, a couple, like a more time in the gym. A little bit.
Yep,
There's
for
a little
sure.
bit larger workouts. But yeah, it's kind of just like taking that next step. And if you feel like you're already kind of working out more bodybuilding style, I still would suggest going through Olympia first.
Yeah.
Just because it might just give you a different view into what you're doing. I think sometimes we get kind of stale in our programming. So before you go into the crazy, I would maybe try Olympia first. But Olympia Elite is like, I'm in it. I really am pumped about my goals and what I want to do. And I kind of just want to take it a step further. This one is definitely up your alley.
Yeah. I mean, there's a part in it where it's 6 days a week.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
kind of level that you should be at or wanting to be at to run this program of like, I want to be at the gym 6 days a week, or I know I can be there
Yes.
6 days a week, because
Yes. And this one, Olympia, and then the last one that we're going to talk about, Atlas, these are the only 3 that I would not suggest if you're a beginner. If you haven't ever worked out before,
Yeah.
or you're kind of still, you have in the past, but you're pretty inconsistent, I would go back to foundation. I would start with that. Maybe Olympia, but even what we talked about in a previous episode of, if you're going off of nothing and then you're going to bump into 4 or 5 to 6 days a week, that's going to be a lot on your system that is
Yeah, it's
just
gonna be
not
too much.
necessary. It's not even like, oh, well, I can push it, I can handle it. It's not necessary.
Well, right. Yeah.
You want to do the littlest amount of work for the most amount of change.
Yeah.
Not, I just want to burn my body out and now that's my maintenance.
Well, and it's just not, it's not long lasting. It's not
Yeah.
sustainable usually that way. This is something that you have to work up to get to, like, I can almost always get 6 days a week in,
Yeah.
to where it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you should not go from nothing to that.
Yeah. And then the last like main program that we have before we get into like the little ones is Atlas.
Yeah. Hub Atlas. This one's named after Atlas, I'm pretty sure it's a Greek god.
Yeah.
And he's holding up the world, and it's strength. It's about strength.
Yep.
So this is kind of why, like you said, you wouldn't start with this one if you're a beginner, because you're going to be expected to be pushing a lot of weight. There's times in this program where you're down to like 5 reps that you have to do. And because you're down to 5 reps, you have to have a lot of weight on, to where if you're a beginner and you don't really know how to do the exercises maybe that well, or you're still getting familiar with them, you shouldn't put that much weight on and do those exercises. So this is another one that's like for the normal gym goer and has been doing it for a while, is comfortable with the lifts. This is something that they can do with the focus on gaining strength.
Yeah. I think this is something you could do if, like, say if you're a beginner, but you like, wow, that one sounds really cool. I would want to get super, super strong and be able to, whether you're a girl or a guy, and just put up super heavy weight in the gym. I would run foundation maybe a couple times through before, like if you're like bodybuilding, I don't care, and you wanted to jump right into that, I would do foundation a couple times so that you were really getting those movements ingrained into your muscle and into your system before you jump into that. I think that could be something you could start with. Like, you don't need to do any of the Olympias prior to that.
Right.
But,
yeah.
I would do foundation first, because you're going to not get the benefit of it as much. You're going to get the benefit of lifting heavy when the mechanics are working correctly as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so yeah, I would, make sure that you know how to do the exercises and do them properly and to the best efficiency, and then you can really start to push it. But I think there's really no order to do them in at all. It's more based on what you're wanting.
Sure.
But besides like your level of fitness.
Yes.
Beginner to intermediate to advanced.
Yes.
And really the only like super advanced program is Olympia Elite.
Yeah.
Otherwise, most Olympia, Atlas, they're more intermediate.
Just depends on what you want.
Yeah, it just more depends on what you want. Rather, so yeah, you could run foundation and then run Atlas, or you could run foundation and then run Olympia. Yeah, there's no real order besides that.
Yeah, Atlas is one of those things that I feel like a lot of people are not going to be as, well, I guess I should say that. I guess I would be pushing Atlas more now than I would have maybe 3 years ago or something. Now that I have gone through a few different strength programs myself, bodybuilding style is so fun, and it's like cool to be able to like really chisel down what you want and kind of go, I want to build this out, I want to shrink this down, da, 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 da. But there is a feeling, and I don't know if you can connect to this or if it is just a girl thing, but to feel strong, it's like so much more beyond lifting strong. Or like lifting a lot of weight, if that makes sense. Like,
oh yeah,
I feel like every time I like go through a Atlas style program that mostly you have written for me, but like anytime I've pushed the weight where I'm doing like a 5x5, it's like, oh my gosh, I feel safe walking around outside now. I feel safe going into the gym, or like I feel more capable being on my own, or I'm in a plane and I can know that I can for sure handle my bag or whatever it is. That I think that's such a undervalued thing as girls. I feel like for guys, it's like, yeah, we can lift heavy and that's super cool. Or like, that's just expected. Towards girls, I think we're so afraid to lift heavy because we think it's going to make us super bulky, which is not going to do that. And it's just like, it's never been a thing that's been like, oh yeah, you should try to see how much weight you can push.
Yeah.
And it is such I hate this word, but like, it is so empowering to feel that and know like, holy crap, I can be strong, or like I can know how to push the weight. I can handle myself in these situations. So
I think it gives you
I love that we have that program.
I think it gives you a different self-confidence, just like looking a certain way does. I think having strength and being able to feel that and see that in the gym, it gives you a different type of confidence that like, you may be doing like what ours would be the Olympia style training where it's bodybuilding and you're, for women, it's usually build out the butt or the legs or, kind of the lower extremities. Like you're so focused on that and so focused on looks that, like you said, stale, like it just starts to get stale and things aren't changing as quickly either because you're just putting the same stimulus over and over again. That with going to a strength program, not only are you getting the different stimulus that is actually changing your body again and making your body adapt to a certain thing and look a certain way, you're also getting that, like you're talking about, that confidence of like, I feel more comfortable walking down the street because I just feel strong. In the airport, lifting my bag and all that kind of stuff. You feel stronger as a person. So you just carry yourself differently. You feel more confident and you just feel better. That it's just a different confidence.
Confidence, and there's a sense of independence.
Yeah.
That you get with that. I feel like as girls or women or whatever, it's always like, well, you need someone strong around you to fix these things for you, or to, be able to handle those situations or open shit up for you. So it's like, it's silly little things like that. But when you're able to hold your own by being strong, like it's something I never thought I would care about. I always thought like, well, I just care about looking good.
Yeah.
To where like to me, just because I wanted to be that, I wanted to try to push my calories and do that, to where I was the thickest I have ever been at a point when I was pushing up numbers I never thought I would be able to imagine, like to where that means more to me, or that's like that I'm more proud of that, I think, than I'm like, oh, well, some of these pictures where I look super good.
Yeah. And I think in total, like, life is so long that, like, I mean, think about that now. Before you're so focused on aesthetics and how you look and this and that, whatever. And now it's like you've gone through a few strength phases and it's like, you see how much time that took, or how like the benefits you get from that, and look where you're at now. It's like, life is so long. You can do all of these things. So why not experiment with, I've been doing aesthetics forever. Now I just want to be super strong and I'm going to do that. Or now I just want to be able to run for a long time, or whatever it is. Like, experiment with everything, because it's going to give you a different, even though it's weightlifting, look how much different of a just feeling it gave you of like, wow, I was lifting a lot of weight and I was really strong.
Yeah.
Life is long. Do all of them. Like, do all of those different things. Don't just be so focused on, well, I just want to look like this. I just want to look like this. Try to get away from that and do something else, because I also guarantee you, when you do that, when you're so stuck in one thing and you do that, you venture out and do something else, you're going to get a lot of benefit from that, and probably benefit in the way that you have been wanting. You go through a strength phase and it's like, wow, I'm noticing my body changing so much right now. It's like, yeah.
Well, that's something that totally correlated after the fact of, once I went through, I remember my first one, because how you had it programmed was kind of like a little bit where, like, I started with a super heavy 5x5 and then worked my way down to like a super high rep, super chiseling, super like isolated. Like I remember I think the whole third set was like single arm, single leg
The whole
movements.
like third phase of it, or
Yeah,
the whole,
yeah.
yeah.
But then after I went out of that, it helped me realize what pushing my weight was also. So then when I was doing just like a regular, not even any goal, but just doing a workout after that, and maybe I'm focusing on aesthetics again a little bit, when I'm doing hip thrusts or when I'm doing deadlifts, it's not like, well, what's just like, let me just throw 15 on either side or 25 on either side. It's like, no, I know I can stack 45 plates on this and keep stacking them, and I know when my limit is. So
Yeah.
even if my rep range is 8 to 10 or 15, I know what pushing it feels like.
Yeah.
And truly pushing it feels like, of like, I'm kind of scared to do this.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared to pick this up, even though it's like I'm just deadlifting it. It's going to get 2 inches off the ground, or I don't pull it off at all.
Yep.
That fear of like, this is a lot of weight.
And
oh
I
my
think
God.
I think you should be at a certain just experience of lifting to do this, but especially when you're in like a strength phase,
Push it.
I almost think at least once a workout, you should be going, I'm kind of nervous to do this.
Oh my gosh.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm kind of nervous to get
Yeah.
under this amount of weight and try to push this 5 times.
Yeah.
I think you should have that once a workout where you kind of have this nervousness. If you're going into it knowing that you can lift this weight every single time, you're not really pushing the strength then.
Yeah.
I get it for aesthetics, and I get it for you're going for looks of like, I'm just trying to pump the muscle and I'm trying to go through this. It's more about the programming and all that type of stuff. But when you're going for strength, you build strength by pushing more weight than you probably can.
Yeah.
And that's by testing yourself. And
Yeah.
I think you should have that feeling once a workout when you're doing that type of phase or exercising.
And there's something to that of like, we don't really get that in regular life a lot of time.
It's so cushy. Life is so cushy.
We don't get the challenge. I mean, truly to something like that where we're not like, I don't know, to where you're like, this is going to be hard.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to really challenge myself, and I am putting that challenge on myself. Not like, well, I got to, like just external pressure of like, oh, well, I'm an adult and this is the crap I have to do. Like, this is something that could benefit me, and I'm right here facing it right now going, I got to do it. Or can I do it? And
it's so instantaneous, which I think is also, it makes it easier to do. I think it makes it easier to do because you get such an instant result of like, I have to try to push this. I have to try to do chest press with this weight 5 times, and you get to 3 or 4 and you can't get the 5th one and it's over with.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Rather than like, I'm going to try to work out for 6 months and go 6 days a week. It's like, that's so long lasting and you don't get a result.
Yeah.
But in your workout, it's like, I'm going to know if I can lift this weight in 10 seconds.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Yep.
It makes it so much easier to jump in and do that.
Yep.
But that's another thing I agree with Mind Pump on wholeheartedly is like, most of the time, the best thing that you can be doing is what you're not doing. And that's maybe more so for the people that are working out consistently versus like most people that just are not working out should just start and just do something, do what interests them, what they want to do. But for the people who are working out consistently, a lot of the times what happens is you do the same things forever. You just get stuck in the same routine and the same exercises that you like and the same rep range that you like, the same amount of sets, the same everything's just the same. And it's such a perfect word for it. It just is stale. That majority of the time to get something to change or be different or maybe get your motivation back or whatever it might be is to do something you really haven't done before or you haven't tried that hard to do. To where it's like you may kind of do strength, but you only do that a couple times during your workouts. To where it's like, no, do a whole program for strength. Dedicate a whole, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months to like, no, I'm going to just try to lift a whole bunch of weight. And I think that it brings you so many benefits, as far as a lot of the time it brings you what you're even been looking for, but it also brings you something different that it's like, wow, my like working out and my knowledge and my circumference of like what I like to do has just grown because I've seen so many benefits from this. And I have something else I can do now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've never been a cardio person or a running person or whatever, yet I've done that for the last, I don't know how long now. And it's like, I'm starting to enjoy the cardio stuff just as much as the weightlifting stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I don't branch out and kind of do that, and it's like, I'm not good at it. I'm somebody that considers themselves an athletic person and can do a lot of things bodily. Yet when I go run 3 miles, my freaking legs are trashed and my
Yeah.
calves are trashed.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm horrible at this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so bad at this. My body's so not conditioned to do this. So I've been trying to focus more on that and do more cardio and
Yeah.
get my body to adapt and be better at running and run for long distances. And it opens up so much more fun of like, you know, I usually follow programs. I don't just kind of wake up and go, what do I want to do today? But to be able to wake up and go, wow, I get to go run 3 miles. How fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day is, wow, I get to lift weights. How
Yeah.
fun. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm just broadening my workouts and my exercise life of like, I can do all these different things and I have a good time doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
To where you don't get that unless you experiment, with something else. If you're just stuck in the same routine, doing the same goals, the same everything, it becomes stale and it becomes unmotivating. To where
Mm-hmm.
switch it up and go do something else. Go do the opposite of what you've been doing. And I think it'll give you a new motivation to do that thing. But then also when you're done with it, you can come back to the old thing and you've learned new tricks. Your body has already changed and you can have a newfound motivation for that old thing that you used to have.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. 100%. And then our last program.
As of right now.
As
And
of
we're
last
in
that
the
we
process
last that
of
will
making more.
last that will be within the Black Friday sale at least.
Right.
Is our hub mobility. And this one is one that I really just wanted. It's going to be one that is going to seem like the boring one and you don't want to do it and it's not as fun
Yeah.
to do.
Let me say this.
It is.
Yeah.
But
I am not good at doing that.
It's so beneficial. This is something that, again, Mind Pump had turned me on to years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just really getting into it more and more as I see my limitations. And before I thought it was just like, well, it's just because I need to mix it up again or I need to push it a little bit harder again or whatever it is. And noticing as I'm getting older too, and I'm just in more of the teacher role with dance and less of a dancer, that I'm like, oh my gosh, my body's kind of jacked up from this and it's affecting my lifting and it's affecting my day-to-day life. And as much as I can lift my way out of it and still work on getting stronger in those areas, there is still a limitation because of my joints and my mobility and the connection to my brain to those muscles that I don't know how to fire certain things, or like I'm really flexible, but I'm not strong in those areas, or vice versa. I'm really strong in those areas, but I have a limited range of motion because I can't flow through that. So now I'm choosing maybe the wrong ranges of motion because my body's just doing like the path of least resistance.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you can expand your range of motion and in a healthy state, your progress with whatever lifting goal you have is going to benefit from it.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of say in the, even in like the description of it, is it might be the reason why your goals are not happening. Also, it could be. And it's something that doesn't take a lot of time, but it's basically it's formatted differently than our other programs. Our other programs are formatted based on days, and then each day will have its own workout. This one is in sessions that you can fit in within your workout days. You can do it before or after your workout session. You can do it on your off days. You can mix and match the exercises. But each of them has an intention. Each of them works on a different part of your body. So if you notice like, wow, this is only working my chest, maybe mixing up the exercise and not just doing all the chest ones or something. But it's really to mold to you and whatever you're needing to work on. So if you're really needing to work on shoulder mobility and you're struggling doing an overhead press that you can't get it aligned with your ears as you're going up and you fall short because you can't get that range of motion, then there are plenty of exercises in there that can assist you with gaining that new range of motion, which then will gain more strength and being able to get more muscle there and all the good things.
Well, and
but yeah, it's just not the cool one.
we've shot all these videos. We just need
mobility
to,
will have videos as well.
Yep, we just need to edit them and put them up, but those will be coming up soon or being put up soon so that you have a video and a demonstration of how to do each one of them. And yeah, I mean, it's all dependent on the person. I think majority of the time though, it's like, I take myself, for example, I get so bored doing mobility. I get so bored just stretching.
Yeah.
But gosh, it's just so crazy beneficial, especially with what I was just saying before too, of like, you take somebody like myself that they're so boring to me. So a lot of the times I don't do them when I should, but then in turn, well, I'm not doing that. And that's probably what I need the most is to stretch, to work on my mobility, to increase range of motion, to become stronger in those ranges of motion. And I think for a lot of lifters, this is what is not worked on.
No.
And not really talked about in those, like, that field of people either.
Yes.
It's like, oh, what program are you doing? Are you doing strength? Are you doing this or that? And a lot of the time, every single one of those people needs to do more mobility.
Well, and that's why I say, like, it could be the reason for you not achieving your goals. Like, not only is it like, oh, I just want to have more range of motion, but like my dad started upping his mobility and now his strength is going up, which just means his body and his aesthetics are going to change because you're able to handle more and it's going to work better. It's, again, going back to that building a house analogy. You're getting better wood. You're getting better insulation to work with. Well, of course, your house is going to be better. Because you're getting better quality products. So now think of your body as the same thing. Build a better product. Build a better working system so that when you go and put that workout program on it, it's going to work for you better. You're going to see more benefit of it. It's more efficient and effective. This is another program that I used to, type of not working out. This can all be cut.
Cut.
This is something that I found super beneficial with when I would teach my elderly classes.
Oh, yeah, totally.
They found this so beneficial and they saw the changes quickly. And I think that's when I realized, like, oh, this is important. How does this affect a 40-year-old? How does this affect me? How does this affect the 8-year-old that I'm teaching? And each time or each example that I now fully bring that into my teaching, I bring that into my workouts, that everybody needs this. Just like everybody needs to be lifting weights and having some sort of resistance training. When I would use this with my elderly classes, like, it would literally be like, you can't even lift your hands above your head, or you can't get in and out of a chair, and then, a couple months go by and we're doing full wall circles.
Yeah.
And you're 75, 80 years old. Like, that's so awesome. And you're able to bend down and have no pain and go up and down the stairs with no pain because they were working on their mobility. We were able to do more weightlifting style things because their body, you're actually able to bend your knees and your ankles know what they're doing. And it's kind of that secret boring thing that is like, it's the trick.
It pays so many dividends.
It's the trick.
It pays so many dividends. And I had this a lot training people.
Yeah.
These, I mean, middle-aged people with their back hurts, their shoulder hurts, all of that type of stuff, that we implement the mobility stuff and we start to gain a better range of motion and a stronger range of motion, and all of a sudden that pain goes away.
Yeah.
So if you're having pain in certain areas too, this could be the thing that alleviates the pain.
Yeah.
And it's just like what you were talking about too, of not only are you opening up more of a range of motion and a stronger range of motion, it's now like, I would have clients that, like, I don't want to put them under a squat bar because your range of motion and your mobility, as I'm watching you just do a body weight squat, you don't really have the proper mechanics that I feel comfortable putting you under weight, that we have to do all this mobility stuff and get you to a point where you can do body weight squats with really good range of motion. You're strong there. You feel comfortable there. And then we can put weight on you. So it's just like what you're saying. This can open up so many more exercises or just growth opportunities that you wouldn't be able to do before. And especially as a trainer doing it with people, it's like, I'm not going to put you in this position that I know you can't handle. So we need to work on this, get you to a point where you can do it. And then now we can do this. And the growth is just like, 5x because they have, like you said, all of the parts are working how they're supposed to work. So now we can really grow to where if you're trying to do squats and your mobility sucks, your mechanics suck, you're not going to get a whole ton of growth because, like what we've said on previous podcasts, your body's trying to save itself, kind of.
Yeah.
That you're trying to put a whole bunch of weight on the squat bar and lift a bunch of weight and you can barely get to 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Or you can get low, but your weight's all the way forward. Your body's going to not respond to that stimulus very well because it's trying to save itself, to where get yourself to a good mobility or a good range of motion and strength and all that, and then do those things, and the growth is just going to be, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's the thing that's boring, but man, it pays dividends. I mean, it's just like, it gives so much.
And it's something that should be run in shorter sessions. That's why they're not full workouts. These should take you 10 minutes tops. And the more frequently you can do them, the better. But it shouldn't be an overwhelming thing. It could be something that you, like you said, you could put on the top of your workout or the end of the workout, or just on your rest days, or like, I'm just going to wake up and do a couple exercises, or before bed, like just let it work in your schedule that is already there, or already programmed out.
It's not like
because you're creating new pathways and patterns and ways of moving.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just it can alleviate pain. It can allow you to do exercises better, more correct,
and just
with
move.
less pain,
and just move. Like
better.
You think of the times where, like, just the not exercising where you get hurt.
Yeah.
Of you bend over and it's like, oh my gosh, my back.
Yeah.
Or you twist over and grab something really quickly, or
not even hurt, but you feel it.
Yeah.
You're, like if I go down to pick this up, I got to bend a certain way to go, and that's what we're talking about is like path of least resistance. Your body just starts to do that.
Yeah.
And then you create these bad neural pathways, and you just continue to repeat them and do them over and over again. I feel like you want to say something, so I want you to.
Well, no, I was just saying, like, that is something that's so crazy that I didn't really recognize my body, that we do that so quick is
Well, unconsciously.
unconsciously of like, oh, this is hurting. I'm just going to make it work. And you don't like, some of us are like, well, we have no pain. It's like, well, it could be because your body isn't working how it's supposed to. And it's just like, that's why our alignment is all jacked up. Like, this is what I noticed is when I broke my foot is the whole left side of my foot. I shouldn't have been putting weight on it, yet I could walk and dance on it and I wouldn't really have any pain because my body was already adjusting where I was shifting my weight.
Yeah.
It's like something like your foot that you walk on, dance on every day, and it already knows, it just wants you to not feel pain.
Yep.
So it's like, even that little, half a centimeter of my foot and where the weight is shifted, that's going to mess up my ankles, which is going to mess up my knees, which is going to mess up my hips, and then so on and up. It's like domino effect. Yet I didn't consciously go, oh, my foot is broken, so I need to walk on the inside of my foot.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing that's even less traumatic of that? Of like, oh, my hip just kind of hurts today. Now I'm going to lean a little bit, and now that's going to mess up my spine, and da-da-da-da. And whether it's because it's broke or because you have an injury, or it's just like, yeah, I'm not that strong in that area.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to use more of my quads and my glutes and my hamstrings to walk me forward. So now I'm pulling on my hip flexors way too much. And then what does that affect?
Yeah.
That most of us are probably not moving as efficiently as we could.
Yeah. And that in turn, it makes you, like you said, efficiency. That's such the perfect word for it, because it's like now you're getting more tired just because your body is moving in not a good way.
Yeah.
And, it's like, think about when you accidentally cut your finger or you, I don't know, clip your nail too short or whatever. At first, you start to do things normal, and then you grab or you hit that and you go, ah. But then over time, you start to grab it a different way because you're, say it's your pinky finger. You start making sure your pinky finger's out of the way, or your pointer finger. You start grabbing it with your like. You start to do these things to avoid these injuries. Even just a little cut on the finger.
Yeah.
And like we do that same thing with our body.
Yep.
Oh, my knee hurts a lot, so when I squat, I tend to avoid it. So I kind of shift into the other leg because my knee hurts. Or lunge, same thing. Like I sit back more on my other leg because that one's healthy and this one's hurt. And
it could be all things that you are completely unaware of.
Yep.
That's one thing that's cool about some of the mobility stuff is I didn't realize, like, oh my gosh, my right is way better in this area. Or like I didn't realize how much more my hip flexor had range of motion than this one. That would totally make sense that when I go into a squat, why I would twist my hips and kind of corkscrew my way down, because I have the range of motion there. That feels comfortable. I can sit into that to where this is tight. Yet I'm not fully conscious of that because there's no pain. I don't feel any stiffness. It's just my body knows how to make it easier.
Yep.
So those are all of our programs. We have Hub at Home, Hub Foundation, Hub Olympia, Hub Olympia Elite, Atlas, and Mobility.
Yeah.
And you can obviously get those at any time, but we are running a special for 50% off all of them. Yeah. For Black Friday.
Well, and I think we've tried to put it up on Facebook and do that. We're not sure how well it's working on there. So if you have any issues, just email us at thehub.fitcrew@gmail.com, and we'll easily be able to get you the program and get the payment and all that kind of stuff.
Super pumped about those programs. I think we're proud of them. It is.
Well, we kind of started this podcast and then didn't really talk about the programs and stuff.
The whole half of the business.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It kind of somewhat of the catalyst as to why we're doing a podcast too. You know, that and my personal training. This is what we wanted to do. So, and we thought we should talk about the programs a little bit more and just what they kind of give you. That way you can make a more educated decision. Yeah. If you're looking at them and want to do one of them. Yeah. Yeah. And you get it digitally, and then you get it forever. So you can you can have mobility exercises forever. And the videos of how to do everything is for mobility, and Hub at Home is going to be up on YouTube. So you have like tutorials on how to do that stuff. We'll be posting more videos just on exercises and anything and everything in general. And I think you should do yoga to put you on the spot, but I
I
don't
don't
know if
know if
that's
I
what you
can
want.
legally do that. Legally is such a
Oh,
strong
yeah,
word,
true.
but like I can do a makeshift version of yoga. I'll just have to put a like disclaimer in the beginning, like I am not a certified yoga teacher, but
I think you'd have so much
let's
fun
do a
with
yoga
that.
class.
I think you'd have so much fun with that. That's why I say I think you should do it.
I think I would too, but it would definitely need to be like a yoga fusion class because there's it to me it would be disrespectful in a way to like say it's
I
yoga.
agree.
Like I wouldn't want
I
someone to
agree.
teach a ballet class and go, I don't know what
I
any of the
agree.
terminology is to
And
where like
that's
there is it's not even the moves, but like why are you doing the moves in this order? What is like there are different types of yoga and this is the verbiage that you're supposed to use and
that's what I was gonna say. Is I feel like if you were to do that, you would like just knowing you would have to get certified and you would have to like research it and do it. I mean, you do yoga, but like you would have to really dive into it. I think for you to like feel comfortable doing it or feel. I mean, exactly that respectful doing it.
yeah.
Because I think, yeah, I mean, we both have that of like anything we do. It's like I don't want to disrespect this craft or this
Yeah.
art
Yeah.
because so yeah, I think that's yeah. After I said that, I'm like, yeah, but she would have to get certified just to like feel comfortable, and she would have to
But
really embrace it.
I would love to do that's something I want to get into a little bit more as we get all this stuff kind of rolling and into a flow is I want to do more of a like follow along style with mobility and recovery sessions and yoga flow type
I think you'd be so good at it.
videos to where I'll actually be talking you through the exercises while I'm doing it with you and you can follow along with me rather than like a written program like our other programs are. All these videos will be kind of just like a mini class or a mini follow along type thing, even if it's just
Mini
like
class.
let's kind of cool down after your workout and you can put on the video and walk through it with me or and I say like yoga flow, like not you're not going to get any of the terminology. I may say namaste at the end, but that's the most I'm going to do. Like I'll do moves that I know and flows that I know, but I will be very upfront and go, this is not something that I
I think
am like.
I think you'd be so good at it. I think you'd be so good at yoga and Pilates, and
I would be
I think
very
it's-
good at it. Yeah.
I think it's something you would enjoy too, and that's why you'd be so good at it. And I'm just gonna keep pushing you to get certified and do it.
I would.
I mean,
I would
shit,
be
I might
very
get
good at it.
certified and do it, and
I would.
I
yeah.
like it. Like it's just so cool, and all the things that you just said of like follow along like classes. You know, how cool would it be to just post little follow along workouts that we do,
Yeah.
or like you said, cool downs, because I do that. I mean, YouTube is my social media. Like I go on YouTube and use YouTube for everything. That
Yeah.
it's like whether it's the car stuff and how to fix a part on a car, or it's anything else that like I'm sure there's plenty of people YouTube searching like what should I do for a cool down?
Yeah.
You know, simply that. Or what should I do for a warm
Yeah.
up? Or what should I do for this? And to have like a follow along with that, it's such a good idea, I think.
Yeah. And that's why I think I like yoga so much is I feel like it connects to more of the spiritual part of me. I don't like that word, but like it is such that energetic flow from the universe and your own heart, and like at the end, like even just saying namaste and like the meaning behind that of like you're sharing your space and your energy with the earth while you're doing it and with yourself if you're doing it with somebody, but then also the teacher. Like that's why you say namaste to that person, is you're thanking them and the craft for it's like the same thing of like when you're in a jiu-jitsu class of you like bow to the mat. It's like I love anything that has such a deep respect for what you're doing and like the beyond respect. What?
I'm just thinking. No, I'm just
You
thinking.
keep doing that.
Oh,
You
no, I'm
do
just
the
thinking because it's
eyes.
like, it's so funny just like what the individual connects to versus somebody else, where it's like, I never say namaste at the end of the class. I'm always like, yeah, whatever, we're done.
Yeah.
But like going to a jujitsu class or, I mean, any MMA,
Mm-hmm.
any martial art, I'm always bowing before I step onto the mat,
Yeah.
or that type of respect. So it's just me kind of catching myself of like, oh, I should say namaste and really be more respectful of that, because I don't do that, but I'll do it for
Yeah.
this other thing that I
Yeah.
have a ton of respect for. And
Yeah.
it's like, I really love yoga, uh, but I'm not showing that respect for it, kind of thing. Towards just like, that's
Yeah.
why I'm like, oh shit, like I do this for one thing, but I'm not doing it for the other, even though like I have that respect for it.
Yeah.
And partially it's because I didn't know that about saying namaste or that whole
Yeah.
thing. I didn't know that. So it's like, oh, now that I know that, I get that this is you showing respect to the teacher and the environment and all of
Mm-hmm.
that. So it's just kind of me catching myself going, oh, okay, I didn't know this. Well, I'm going to start doing that because
Because I,
I
I
I think I
love
should.
things. I love things like that. Like that's why I like it specifically with something like that's just like furthermore of why I like yoga too is because I feel like it connects the whole broad picture with it. That I think there's a lot of things that it's hard to connect mind, body, spirit, and the earth and everything to that's like what yoga is about. Is like feeling that energy and feeling your what is the word? There's like a term for it.
Your mana.
Is it that?
I don't know.
Um I don't know, but it's like it's the energy within you and to be at one with that and take time with that, and most people do not do that. So whether it's through meditating or yoga or just some practice where you're taking the time with that feeling with yourself, with the whatever you believe in or the universe or the earth, having all of that connected as one, I think is really cool. But yeah, the saying namaste is I dove deep into it when I was teaching one of my Bollywood classes, because it's derived from that culture of, yeah, like you're saying thank you and honoring the spirit in you and who you are as a person and the experience that you bring. You're basically just like giving thanks to your love and light, and that I'm appreciating mine and being conjoined with you, and
Mm-hmm.
that we are able to experience this moment together or whatever. And then furthermore using that with yoga and doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, anything where you can give respect to the art form of what you're doing, I love it.
Well, which again, it's like, what's so interesting to me about it is just how individual it is. I don't really feel all of that through yoga, but I do, like with jujitsu
Yeah.
specifically, where it's like at the end of the class, I'm like, wow, I feel so connected to each person in here, because like
Yes. Yes.
I maybe rolled with each person,
Yep.
or I
Yep.
drilled certain moves with this partner for the day. And um, yeah, so it's just like it's so interesting how individual we are with all that like I feel that kind of connection with that. But when it comes to yoga, it's more to me about like stretching out, and the
Sure.
things that the yoga class brings to each person is, I feel more of like the body, the bodily changes and all of that type of thing with yoga, rather than like the mind and the soul and the spirit of it. But you can get that with other things, or it may just be that too, of like I didn't understand the depth of it,
Sure. Yeah.
that I can try to focus more on getting to the depth of it during a class or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, that's something I actually try to bring into my classes is like having a full respect for whether it's not even just dance, but like the room that you're in, the people that you're able to experience class with. And I think that's something that we don't, whether it's I don't like the word taking for granted. I don't like that phrase, but I think we could have so much of a deeper appreciation for a lot of the things we do if we understood the art and the craft of it, and maybe it's even just the history of where it came from and why we're doing it and what the purpose is. Not just like, oh, it's yoga and it's a fun workout, which can be great too, but
I think
it depends on what it is. To me, I connect to those things so much.
I think with anything, the more that you learn about it, the more you grow to respect it.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's kind of telltale in everyday life of like, you can tell that somebody doesn't, they maybe don't respect a environment or a person or a place by the way that they're acting. Or you can tell somebody that really truly does respect that environment and everything. So I think that it's usually just your lack of information. At least that's usually what it is for me. Like with what we even,
with the Namaste.
Yeah, what we dove into of like,
yeah,
I didn't know that or understand that, so I wasn't really showing the respect that it kind of should have and carry. But now that I've learned something, it's like, okay, well now I'm gonna say that and try to mean it and try to be into it more because I understand the weight of that more now.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, what a challenge that would be to try to do that with everything in everyday life.
For sure.
That's
but I think
super
the things
challenging.
that you're already interested in, or, like for me with like something like music, I love music. I love listening to it. It's something that brings feelings in me that I've never, I don't get feeling. What am I even saying? But I love music. But learning more about what does this sound come from? Mm-hmm. What culture is this from? Then that you can even dive deeper into learning about a different culture. And, okay, this music is used over in this country and it stems from way back when this happened. Or, I don't know, the more that you dive deep into something that you care about, the more that you'll probably learn about things that you never thought you would learn about, or that you didn't even know had anything to do with that topic. But yeah, it gives you a different appreciation and a challenge to take or don't take. Do whatever you want, but I think it's cool.
No, yeah, I think it's cool too.
Yeah.
I think, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
With that, follow our Facebook page, like our Facebook page. We'll be posting more videos on YouTube, whether it's, maybe yoga videos in the future, but for more near future, probably like follow along workouts or cool downs, all that type of stuff. We're just going to try to pump out as much stuff that we think is helpful and cool and fun. So, follow us on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, follow our Facebook page, like our Facebook page.
Yep. And the same thing with, we ask you guys that if you have any questions that you want answered, we can answer them. But same thing, what do you want to see? If there's a specific exercise or lift that you're like, I don't really know how that works, or I would like you to go in depth on it, or you should do a cool down or do the mobility and whatever.
Yep.
We're down. As long as it's not me running. I'll do whatever.
I'll run.
I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And take advantage of our Black Friday deals.
Yes.
With that.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.